do have programs in place to help them and try to work with them so that we can integrate them and teach them how to behave in an appropriate way in the community. But and that's perfect world, we would be able to do that. But we don't live in the perfect world, right? And they can be triggered by a lot of different things in the community. And the thought of going out to have some sort of a project done can be, or any kind of structured group setting can be very stressful for the kids, but it's also stressful for our staff when you're trying to get 8 teenagers to go anywhere at one time. It's really kind of hard. So, but that's like a broad stroke of who Charles Hall is. And so there's really 2 main ways that Arts for All has deeply impacted us. The first is financial, of course, because they don't charge us anything. So we can take that money that we don't spend on the arts, because we do feel that the art programming is so very important for the kids that we serve. But we can take the money that we don't spend there and that we can use it on other programs that we do work with our kids. The second and the main one is Sargianna alluded to earlier, was the fact that Arts for All and Melissa came into our home. And that just relieved a lot of stress for everyone involved. The kids they're in their own space, where that if they are dealing with an issue from the day, an issue with their parents, things like that, they have already I've just lost my words, but ways to calm themselves down, and they're embedded in their home so that they know where they can go when they need that space, that time. So that really helps in that fashion. But the other thing is, Melissa and any of the volunteers that we work with, they understand the target population we're serving, and they understand that these kids, and for now adults, but these kids are not always going to behave the way we would expect them to. They're not always going to say the please and the thank yous. They're not always going to be able to connect with you, because that's where they struggle. They don't trust people, and in a lot of ways, why would they, with all that they've been through? So Melissa, the first class, I was a little nervous about, because it was in our boys' home, and I'm the one who picked where it was going to be too, but I was a little nervous about it, because the boys had been having really disruptive behaviors outside of the agency, inside the home. It was a rough, tough time. And so we had six boys that were going to be there, and so I really prepped Melissa again one more time as we're going into the house, and I'm not really sure that they're even going to sit down for that 45 minutes to an hour, but hey, let's give it a chance. And so she came in, and it was just amazing, because she knew who she was going to be working with. Those boys sat down for 45 minutes to an hour, and they worked in sketchbooks and interacted and talked with myself, Melissa, the staff that we had on board. It was an amazing, quiet time in the home. One of our boys had chosen not to. He had been abused by an aunt that was about our age, was not comfortable in that scenario. So he stayed in his room, although we did give him the sketchbook, and Arts for All provided sketchbooks for all of the kids at Charles Hall. So he took his into his room. So we worked that hour. By the next class, the boy that was really the most disruptive, he came back with his sketchbook full, because he had used that as his coping mechanism over that time frame. It was just amazing to see the interaction and the things that he had in his sketchbook, and he was wanting another one, of course, right away. And then the boy that chose to stay in his room, he came out and he joined us, and he spent that time in the classroom. And that's just, it does the heart good to see those things happen with the kids that we serve. So we are so very grateful for the partnership with Arts for All.
All right, so there's a few different places of where we're going from here. One I alluded to on one of the slides, but I haven't talked about. At the end of the school year last year, we decided that since Wilmer was such an amazing experience for the kids, that we needed to look at other schools as well. So we sat down with Sean Oban, who's the Director of Fine Arts for Bismarck Public Schools, and I knew he didn't have a lot of time, so what my son calls my elevator speech, where if I run into somebody on the elevator and they ask what I do, this is what I'll talk about. So I started it out, it was going strong. He cut me off. He's like, you can stop right there. I'm like, ugh, is what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, that's not good when someone stops you in the middle. He's like, we're on board. Yeah. We will do whatever you guys want to provide this. and we are on board. This is such an important thing in our school system. The arts, he in fact did his dissertation on how the arts has such an amazing impact on kids and test scores and things like that. So we talked about that. So we were looking at potentially doing 2 schools, and he said, why don't we do 4? Why don't we do 4 Target 1 schools this year that are the lowest income? They call them the Big 4. The lowest income, and provide this. We had an artist who's a retired teacher come on board, and actually our first class this year is today, this afternoon. So each month she'll go into those 4 schools 1 week, so that'll impact 60 kids a month with arts from the start of the school year, which would be September, until May. And there, in fact, were 2 months where she couldn't because she was going to be out of town, so we brought a writer in. So we're going to start doing writing 2 months this year as well in the school system, where the writer will come in those 2 months and offer journaling and writing to the kids. So some of the things that we're doing within the next year or so, we're expanding to offer music. We had 2 local musicians step up saying that they will offer guitar lessons in particular to kids. We're looking at doing that with the school system and then also with Charles Hall. We're looking at offering the classes in the Mandan school system to Title I schools as well. We're looking at other cities. Why just Bismarck-Mandan? Why not look outside of it? We just wrote a grant to target a bigger city, and then we're going to look at also targeting some rural cities as well. And lastly, our big vision is to eventually not only serve kids in the school system, but also serve people that are in recovery or that have addictions. There's 8 different entities within Bismarck-Mandan that serve people in that stage, to partner with them and serve that population as well. So our challenges. I talked a lot about what we do, but I haven't talked a lot about our funding, which I know would come up. Initially, we were funded by private donations that were coming in. We are now, as of June 30th, we became a 501c3, so we are applying for grants, and we have gotten a grant already, and we still have private donations coming in as well. We still don't have any type of business plan, any type of, I know that makes some people cringe, but we still don't. We just feel that this is important, and we have the money, we want to provide the service. But we've had very fast growth. As you've seen, we have a lot of partnerships in the community, and at every meeting that we have every month, we're looking for more partnerships. Last year, we served 175 students or adults were affected by the arts. This year, by what we have set up right now, and it's not even extra partnerships, we will impact 800 people in Bismarck-Mandan. So that's fast growth from one year to the next. Our challenges, volunteers in the specialty areas. So right now we have volunteers in all our specialty areas except for drama. We've had people who have talked to us about it, but we're always looking for more volunteers to come in and do the arts. We're struggling with getting known in the community. A lot of people say they don't know us, so we're getting our word out there, getting our brand out there, looking at a possibility of a consultant coming in and as far as a grant goes and helping with our recognition in the community. Fundraising, I mean, we want to have enough money to be able to carry on long into the future, so fundraising is something that we look at. And the last one is something that Megan from Strengthen and D said as well. I think she's my spirit animal and she doesn't know it, but the fact that I started this nonprofit on my own, and the fact that it's hard for me to give up assistance. I'm very, very type A, very organized, and it's hard for me to give some of that up because I know what an impact this has on these kids and how important it is. Thank goodness for me, Rhonda's exactly like me, so I know I can trust her. And we have board members that are not like us who we can trust in the other areas as well.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about Arts for All and our challenges and where we're going in our future.
Okie dokie. All right, so we're gonna sit down and ask some questions. We got Carl on the mic, so raise your hand if you have a question, or you can use hashtag 1MCND. We'll just get situated here. All right, thank you so much for being here. So when you approach people, or I mean, for instance, when she approaches you, do you have to like give that pitch a lot, or is it a lot of times once you start talking, people are like, yeah, let's do it?
once you start talking it and people that we've approached realize what an impact the arts has on kids and how it's so much needed, and the fact that they have this audience that probably can't afford it, it's kind of sells itself. So I think that's why we have such good luck with collaborations in the community, because people are aware how important that is.
Yeah, and so for you, like, I mean, especially when it comes to getting the students to actually participate, do you kind of have to sell it a little bit, or usually are people pretty on board?
Well, for the audience like Charles Hall, sometimes that can be kind of tough to get the kids, that they don't really understand that this is going to help or what benefit it's going to be. So there's a little bit of talking involved with that. But when we're talking about the schools, any of those other partnerships, TR for Heart and Soul, they're all on board and excited about it.
Kind of what are your talking points? Because I believe you. I know that the arts are good. But like, STEM is a big thing right now. We're trying to get that arts in there for the STEAM. But what kind of things do you bring up if maybe some people who are like, what do you mean this is going to be good for us?
I generally bring up some data that we have as far as how the arts affect all people, what different types of things people can grow with from the arts, such as you have a lot of creativity, collaboration, self-discipline, self-awareness. All of that can help you grow within the arts. And I know as far as STEAM goes, a lot of people are very technological and focus on that, but you need creativity for that as well. And everybody has some type of creative element that you go to. I haven't met one person that doesn't. Mine might be totally different than yours. Mine unusually is, which is very strange, is actually drawing, and I am not good at it. But that's what I go to help me focus. Drawing really helps me focus if I have a problem, or if I need to think of something, or if I need to kind of calm myself down, that's what I go to. And everybody has something that they go to as their niche.
Mine is music. I love to listen to music, and if I'm feeling in any way stressed or whatever, music is what helps. And so all the different art mediums can help in some way, and when we can get out there and offer it to those that are struggling, whether it be with behavioral issues, trauma, it's huge to help with any individual that's dealing with trauma to be able to regulate their emotions, because that's really the piece that they don't do well, is they're not able to regulate. So it's really very important, and it's sad when we see that it's not as in schools as much, or not a focus, because it really is very important for the whole person instead of just pieces.
I agree. All right, Miss Dawn.
This is a fantastic program. Thank you for being here,
Thank
ladies.
you.
A couple of questions. One, how many artists are involved now throughout the different classes and offerings? And the other would be based more toward Charles Hall. How many sessions do the kids get? Like you were talking about the first class, I guess, with the Boys House. How many courses do they get, or meetings, or is this ongoing?
Okay. Do you want to do?
You can answer first.
Okay, so for the Charles Hall piece, it was offered once a month, but it is ongoing and in both homes. So the boys' home and the girls' home independently, because that just can be a scary thing, getting the boys and the girls together sometimes. The focus isn't quite there. So, and then the idea was they could kick those sketchbooks, and then Melissa would come back every time, and they would build on what they were doing. Whereas in the other projects, it's kind of a one and a done type of a thing. But Charles Hall would be an ongoing. Same with Heartview to some extent is an ongoing. And you have those same kids there, or adults most of the time.
So currently, as far as artists go, we have 2 visual artists, 2 musicians, 1 writer, and like 10 dance teachers.
All right, so it's not just anybody who wakes up one morning and says, "God darn it, I'm going to start a 501c3."
No.
So could you share a little bit about, I mean, you're obviously extremely passionate about it. Could you share a little bit maybe of your background and what made you think, I got this, I can do this?
That's an amazing question. I'm actually glad that you asked it. My background currently, I have a a day job is what I'll call it, but I'm operations officer for Community Options. We provide services to individuals with developmental disabilities. So that's why I thought the piece of serving that population was very important, because a lot of people that have developmental disabilities, number one, they may need a little more assistance or adaptive equipment, and secondly, once you get older, a lot of them could not afford this. So we've seen that as a struggle, and an outlet for them a lot of times is the arts. I also was a teacher. I was an English teacher, and actually I was a drama director on this stage. The last time I was on the stage, I was very, very pregnant with my daughter, and I directed the Jungle Book for Shagey Players. So the arts have been very involved in my life too, and I came from a small town, New England, North Dakota. I was very involved in the arts, and I know if I wasn't involved or didn't have that opportunity with my parents being able to pay for it, I probably wouldn't be where I was today. At the time when I decided to start this 501c3, I was looking for, and I've worked for nonprofits many of my life, I was looking for to start something that made an impact. But I wanted to make an impact, and it had to be something specific that was not happening in Bismarck, North Dakota. And as soon as I hung up the phone, and it's so strange, for the quote from Rachel Hollis to come to my mind first, I knew it was something I needed to do. I was probably overindulging at Rachel Hollis at that time, but for those of you who listen to her. But, I mean, she has a message that you can do anything, no matter where you come from. She graduated from high school. That was the level of her expertise. I knew at that time that I could do something, and I knew I had the people around me to do it. So that's why I started it. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am almost, I don't know where to start. The whole idea of focusing has been brought up several times. I don't know if there's a financial resource available to you through the Department of Corrections or the Department of Human Services, or if you even have the energy or the people available to move into the Department of Corrections and work with people who may be incarcerated. Because maybe some of the issues they're dealing with, and maybe one or some of the reasons they are where they are, is that focusing problem. And maybe with mental health money that might or might not be available in the future, maybe you could get some of that, perhaps.
I think
So anyway, I don't know.
we are always willing to talk with anyone about partnering. So we don't take anything off the table until we at least consider what options are out there. But we do have to make sure we have the funding and we have the artists that are able to do that. And so that is definitely a targeted population that we would have some experience with, but not a great deal. Although, like a lot of the kids that we serve at Charles Hall, their parents are incarcerated. And so we have at Charles Hall, we have a little bit of experience with some. But you know what? We don't take anything off the table till we've really considered everything that we can offer, if we can offer, and how can we do that.
And thus far, we have not said no to any partnership that has approached us. So
We're trying.
That's the spirit.
Just a little bit about metrics. You mentioned, how many people you impact, and I guess I'm curious about other metrics you've been thinking about. We had some experience years ago with a nonprofit that really put too much focus on the number of people impacted, and as a result, they started tending towards programming that was really minimal impact but high numbers, and we'd been involved on that, like the low numbers, high impact side, and really saw that organization suffer as a result. Now they've since started to kind of swing the pendulum back a little bit. So what other metrics have you thought about that you can use to show your supporters, kind of the level of impact of something like an ongoing program versus that once and done?
most of our programs actually that have the bigger numbers are ongoing. The school system is an ongoing monthly program. The reason why that has such a high number, and that's where our highest number comes from, is because you have 4 schools a month at 15 kids each, so it's 60 kids basically is what you're serving. That's an ongoing project that the artist comes in and does with the kids, so it's ongoing that she's there. We have other programs that have been like one time, but we try when we're going to partner with them. It's going to be continual. And one thing that we're looking for, actually for a grant that we're applying for, is to have a survey of the teachers involved, the parents involved, the artists involved, and the kids, to see what they took out of that opportunity and where we can go from there. And to look at, is there another art aspect that we need to look at that we haven't looked at yet?
So we're working on building some metrics that then would talk about and show the impact. We're just not quite there yet.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
My life is a complete result of the arts, and so I'm very grateful for what you're doing. Kind of a question and comment at the same time. I've worked with Pride and other similar groups, and I know photographing clients and things like that is a challenge as far as marketing. And so I guess my first question, is that a challenge for you? Yeah, no?
It definitely is when you're looking at Charles Hall Youth Services. We can't photograph our kids. Heart View, we can from the back, I think. Those were from the back. But we get permission from the students or from the parents of the students at the schools, so that we can take pictures and then at least show them in social media and things like that.
And then as well from Community Options, where they serve kids or adults, which mostly we focused on their kid population, but their parents also have to sign off a permission slip that we can use it. If they don't, we can't use any type of pictures of them, but they're okay with the art. So if you notice on our Facebook page, some of the pictures are just probably the art, and it's because we're in the setting where we can't take photographs of the kids.
It is definitely difficult, though, when you can't show like the faces of some of those people and the experiences, but it is the world that we work in, so.
Yeah, definitely. And thinking about marketing, your product is really the experience you're giving that kids. And like you said, that smile on their face. And so I was just trying to brainstorm a way that you could capture those faces, because the art is just the end product, right? But the face is the thing. So I wonder if there's a way you could have a dedicated group that has permission or something to bring in someone and really capture that joy.
Yeah, it would be a great thing if we could figure out how to make some of that happen. That's kind of part of where we were looking for some help in that aspect.
In the middle.
Kara.
Hi. I have a question that kind of goes back to one of the very first things you said in your talk today about noticing, students in high school who couldn't afford a band instrument to be in band or couldn't afford the fees to be in the art class. Do you have any plans, is that on your radar at all, to maybe provide a grant to a school or individual scholarships to students? And that would be a way, not that you have a whole lot of money, but putting money towards it, but you don't have to find a separate artist. You don't have to, do a separate program. Is that, I was in band in high school and in middle school, and that was a wonderful thing. And my family could just barely afford my saxophone, but we managed. And I just wonder if that's something you've thought about.
I don't think we've really thought about that. It's a great question, though.
No, we haven't. That's nothing that we had discussed, but that is a great question, because a lot of the experience that the kids have then are in a group in the school system with very, very talented people that are delivering that. I can't say enough amazing things about the two schools my kids have gone to, middle school and up, which would be Simile and Legacy. Both of their programs are top notch.
Yeah.
My name is Mike, and back in college the first time around, I worked for both Pride and HIT.
Okay.
And then I've worked in a lot of different venues. I have an artistic nature and can draw also. You have no shortage of people that you could help. Right now, last 10 years, I've been working in aging services. And especially in the first two stages of Alzheimer's, art can be very profound for those residents. And that might be an option of talking through aging services to see if there's some funds to where you could go on site and you'd have designated staff to help you out through their activity time, because they're federally required to do so. It might be something to look at in the future.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Absolutely,
We have
yeah.
not looked at that population, so that's another one. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Yeah, with your volunteers, do you have to offer any kind of specific training, or they're just focused on the arts and that's what they go for?
Right now, they're focused on the arts. We do try to make sure that there is at least someone from the board present when they do and offer those classes, so that way we can make sure that we're staying true to who we are and making sure that they understand the population that we're serving.
We do have policies that they have to sign off on before they can teach a class, and actually we have it in the policies that they actually have to have the first 3 classes with another artist there. So we have a new artist who's starting, and someone will be in there for those first 3 classes just to make sure our mission's there, our vision, and that he's doing well in the classroom and as far as teaching the arts go.
You talked about you have someone who might teach some guitar lessons, and again with the instrument thing, that can be something that's like very beneficial but very material. It really depends on having that guitar there. Is there any other kind of art form you're having difficulty, you really want to try, but because you need that physical material, it's hard to get to that point?
I think the hardest is the guitars. With Charles Hall, they actually have guitars, so when we're going in there, that's easier to start with that. However, we also filled out for a grant to do it within the school system as well, so part of that is paying for the guitars, because they are expensive. Plus, not only do you need guitars, you need music, you need stands, all of that tangible things. Supplies, depending on what they are doing as far as the project goes, can be expensive, but for us, we have 2 very frugal artists who are teaching the classes.
Yep.
You have to be.
When they break down like how much it costs per kid per class, I am amazed by how frugal they are. So that has been very, very helpful to have people who are able to go online, find the cheapest price, look at different sites, use coupons at Hobby Lobby, whatever they need to do to get the cost done. They both are willing and realize that.
Yeah.
I lost my question. It was in my head. We'll search for it.
That happens to me.
I
too.
know.
It's
There's
just
a
gone.
whole file back there somewhere,
Yep.
and then it
Can't
pops
get it back
up.
out.
No, it's gone now. It was a good one too. Oh, I know. No, I don't. Carl found somebody. We're gonna search. There's an error right now.
I'm here to help you out.
Thank you. Oh God, I appreciate that.
You're clearly filling a gap, and I'm curious to know how big that gap is. We know that public schools are having trouble financing themselves, that they focus now on the 3 most important subjects, which are science, math, and sports. And I'm just wondering, what is the situation here? Have public schools here cut back on the arts and music? Have they cut back on the teaching of these subjects to the kids, or is it just normal what you're doing, and the schools are still going on with teaching as well?
I think definitely in elementary schools, they've cut back in some of them due to not having the funding. I know they have tried different grants in certain schools to bring in the artists, Myrie being one of the schools, where they had a grant where they had, a dance instructor, a musician, an artist, and I think a writer come in and teach the classes, different classes for a year. Aside from that, a lot of them have maybe art once a week. It's not a daily thing. I mean, you can be offered art in middle school and also in high school, but it's generally for a quarter, and it's not the whole year either, so they're not continually getting that art experience. And those come with cost too, especially once you hit middle school and high school, they have fees for all those. So it's $40 or whatever, maybe more, and a lot of families can't afford that, and we didn't realize that until we started this, about how many families can't afford that.
I found it. Okay. So a lot of times as you get older, your confidence and your ability to create art kind of dwindles, and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough. Do you run into that at all, or usually your Arts for All folks yeah, I'm going to jump in and try that. I want to be a dancer.
I know that Melissa has ran into some struggles with people that she has taught at Heartview just not believing in themselves. Melissa's amazing at making anybody feel like they can be an artist. Like with me, she's like, there's no such thing as a bad painting or a bad drawing or a bad artist. Everybody can do it. Yours just may look different than someone else's, but you're not supposed to judge yourself on that. So she is good about bringing up people's confidence and talking them into participating, even if they're hesitant in the beginning.
I do think that happens, though, for kids as well as adults, but certainly as we get older, we sort of get set in our ways and what we're good at and what we're not. But if you have the right people that are doing the volunteering and the right, just to encourage, I think it's really important that it's okay. Whatever yours looks like, it's okay. And if you dance goofy, all right, that's all right.
I do dance goofy.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Carl's going to give us we always give everybody the same last question. I hope you have your mentality prepared and your answer. Whichever comes first. Take it away.
In honor of today, I'll sing the last question.
Oh, all right.
What
I'll do
can
backup.
the 1 Million Cups community do to help your organization?
That's awesome, yes.
Frank
that's
Sinatra.
Yeah. Oh.
I've heard this question so many times, and I've thought of it so many times, but
You've never heard it sung, though.
no, I've never
that's
heard it that way. I feel like honored that we got to hear
Yes,
it sung today.
that's awesome.
So this is an amazing thing. 1 Million Cups is amazing. So many collaborations and partnerships, which I've talked about throughout, are able to happen because of it. And we were kind of talking this morning about Kayla going freelance and how many people she's connected with here, because everybody already knows, especially in North Dakota, knows someone who knows someone.
Right.
So a lot of the times that's how we get a hold of our partnerships or meet our partnerships, because I know someone who that would impact, or I know where you can go with this. So with this, just this one time a week where you come in and are able to talk about what we do and how it can impact the community, and then have that feedback as to where else we can go is so important. So just to keep that up and to like our page, and if you know of anybody who can be impacted by us or would want to partner with us, just reach out to us. We're always willing to look at whatever partnership comes available.
I would say here. I second that.
All right, do you want to take like a bow on the stage that you so graciously?
Curtsy?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, from drama, you can too.
yeah.
No.
Okay,
I'm good.
all
I
right.
think we're both good.
Okay, all right, great. All right, well, we want to see you guys here next week. If you know of anybody who wants to be on stage, they can apply at this website. Make sure you check out Arts for All on Facebook, give them a like, and keep up with all the cool things that they're doing. So, all right, happy Wednesday, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.